So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the power of feeling into your choices, meaning using your wisdom and your intuition to make decisions in your life. And the reason I want to talk about this is because most people think you should be making decisions from your mind and not your heart. I hear that all the time, especially when I'm watching Big Brother, like, oh, you're making an emotional decision. You weren't thinking logically. What I'll say about that is when you're triggered, you are not accessing your wisdom and your intuition. So yeah, if you're making a decision from a triggered state, it's not going to really create much. It might even create something kind of unwanted. You might say things you don't mean, do things that you really, really didn't mean to do. So that is usually what people are talking about when they say, oh, you made this decision emotionally. What I'm referring to in this video is accessing your intuition, the way it speaks to you, your wisdom, to make decisions. Because if you make a decision just from your mind and not from your wisdom, it is going to be limited because your brain only knows what it's been taught. In this lifetime, past lives, passed down from ancestors, we apparently have 4 different belief levels that we hold beliefs on: core, genetic, history, and soul. But that is still limited. That's just everything you've been taught. So how are you supposed to know something from your brain that you haven't been taught? What if you've lived in a box your whole life and then came out of that box one day? Do you think you're going to make great decisions because you haven't been taught enough to be able to make great decisions? So even someone who didn't live in a box their whole life and got a ton of education, that person still only knows what they've been taught, and it's limited. We'll use the example of doctors. They go through all of this training and learn a ton about health and healing and helping people heal. But it's limited because they are not taught that your body's primarily energetic. They're not taught about modalities that are natural and kind of out of the box, like mind-body medicine and theta healing. Mind-body medicine, I think, is touched on a little bit in osteopathic medicine, but things like theta healing, which are like connecting with creator consciousness to heal, that's not taught in the medical system. And yet they spend so much time learning that they probably think that they know everything there is to know, but they don't know everything that there is to know. They don't know that theta healing was created to heal cancer and something like that exists. So to make a decision just from your brain will always be limited, is the point I'm trying to make. So how do we make decisions from our wisdom then? So your wisdom may speak to you differently than mine or another person. So for me, I'm like claircognizant, clairsentient, which means I get like a knowing or a feeling. So I will literally feel it in my gut, a gut feeling. And that's because your gut has cells that are very similar to brain cells, and so does your heart, sensory neurons around your heart that actually have more intelligence than your brain. And your heart is actually sending more signals to your brain than your brain is sending to your heart. And they're all communicating. You've got a gut brain, you've got a heart brain, and then you've got your actual brain. So the way that you can figure out how your intuition speaks to you is every time you make a decision, if you pause and you feel into, what did this feel like when I made this decision? What did it actually feel like in my body, right? Because then eventually you're going to feel what a yes feels like and what a no feels like. And eventually you're going to realize what happens when you do something that really didn't feel like a yes, and what happens when you followed something that did feel like a yes. And you're going to see when you follow something that feels like a yes and you see what gets created effortlessly in your life, or like very fluidly, doesn't even feel like work, definitely doesn't feel like pushing a boulder up a hill. See what gets created from that versus what gets created when something didn't feel like that. Like I always say, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. My mentor says that all the time, and it is so true. You might think though, well, I've done things that didn't feel like a hell yes because I kind of thought that I had to, and it did create something, so I don't really believe what you're saying. The truth is, it might create a little bit of something. To put your energy into something that doesn't feel like a hell yes, then you just do it because you feel like you have to. But the truth is, it's not going to move the needle. It's not going to make a big difference in your life or the planet, and it's not leading you to your heart's desires or the things that are aligned with you. If you follow everything that feels like a hell yes, you will receive every single heart's desire that you have, like true heart's desire, something that's aligned for you, meant for you. You will receive all of it if you're following your yes. If you're not following your yes and you're following your no, it's just going to take way, way, way longer. And if you only ever follow things that don't feel like a yes and you never follow a yes, then you won't receive your heart's desires unless they are in your divine timing, things that are going to happen absolutely no matter what. Like for most people, who they're going to marry is part of their divine timing. For everyone, it's different how many things they have that are divine timing in their life. Apparently, I have 5. I've known someone who had 8, which is a lot. Having depression was part of my divine timing. Who I'm going to marry is part of my divine timing. Having kids is not part of my divine timing, but apparently for a lot of people it is part of their divine timing, so it's going to happen no matter what for them. So so if you follow your yes, you're going to be guided to your heart's desires. If you just kind of strategize from the brain, I think this is what I should do, maybe I should create a business about this, but it's coming from your mind and it wasn't really an inspiration, yeah, you might create something from that business, but it's not your sole purpose. It's not what you came here to do. It's not good. You're not going to receive as much wealth as you could as if you were doing something that felt like a yes. And it's not really making a big difference on the planet as much as you think it is. It's not moving the needle unless it is like truly inspired. And so this is true no matter if your core energy is masculine or feminine, because I have heard men say before, well, this is different for us because we're not meant to be as sensitive. And yeah, if your core energy is masculine, you're not as feminine, and feminine energy is sensing, feeling, expressing. But it's the same thing for a man. If you only make a decision from your mind, it's going to be limited and only based on what you've been taught. So 100% limited decision right then and there, whether you are a man or a woman, no matter what your core energy is, it is limited to make a decision from your mind. So it is still important, if your core energy is masculine, to practice getting more into your feminine energy and feeling what a yes feels like in your body and what a no feels like in your body. And really paying attention. Okay, when it felt like this, what got created? When it felt like this, what got created? And then eventually you're going to trust your wisdom so fully and you're going to know exactly how it speaks to you, exactly what it feels like. And then you won't put your energy into anything that doesn't feel like a hell yes, because you're going to know it's not moving the needle. It's not really creating very much. I'd rather put my energy into something I know is going to create a lot rather than just kind of waste it, because then you don't have the energy to truly create when you do get those ideas, because you've been kind of wasting it on things that really weren't going to make a big difference. So yeah, I hope that this is landing. You know, it's not like your mind doesn't have any use, because it does. It's a tool that you can then use. Like, you're going to get a download through your intuition, whether that's a gut feeling, or you might hear things like hear downloads, or you might see things depending on how your intuition speaks to you. And then once you get that download, maybe then you're going to use your mind to actually be like, okay, what is this going to like actually look like? I remember my mentor sharing with me one time that it was like a cycle. It goes receive, download, share, dance. Yeah, that's what it was. So you receive the download and the insight, and then you actually like download it and like figure out what it's going to look like and all that kind of stuff. And then you actually share it in the physical world. And then dance means you actually get to reap the benefits of the fact that you followed this whole cycle and created something beautiful, and now you receive like either the money from what you created or the compliments or the if you like created something that's helping people, now you're going to actually see it like, wow, this is helping people. And then it just goes and keeps repeating the next time you receive a download. So yeah, so your mind is not useless. There's still a lot of power there, but use it to your benefit instead of being a slave to your mind and thinking that that is where your real power lies, because it literally can't be where your real power lies, because you can't know everything and your brain can't hold that much intelligence. Your body can hold that much intelligence. There is things that your body knows that your brain has never even heard of. Like, I'd never heard of theta healing before, but it existed, and it was a way to heal illnesses that people say you can't heal. And it's existed for many, many years, and I didn't know it. So if I was making decisions on how to heal my body from an illness from my mind, I wouldn't receive that resource. I'd have to be open, I'd have to be curious, I'd have to be following my wisdom, which is going to guide me to the resources that I need. It's not going to happen from brainstorming or Googling unless I was inspired to Google something. Different story, right? So this is why I'm saying you have to feel, what did it feel like before I went and Googled on the computer? Did I feel like tension and like fear and like, okay, I just got to Google to like find a way to not feel my fear? Or did I feel light, inspired, like, oh, maybe I'll Google this? Like one time I Googled something, it was like retreats on boats or retreats on yachts. I just got the idea like, oh, I'm going to Google this. And that created so much in my life. The people that I met went on this beautiful yacht retreat in Croatia and all these types of things, right? So it felt light when I went to go Google that versus doing it to avoid something or out of fear or things like that. So really pay attention to how it feels before you make every decision, and then see what gets created from that decision. And you're going to start trusting your wisdom more. You're going to know how it speaks to you, and beautiful things are going to get created in your life. If you want to know more about how to access your wisdom, how it speaks to you, I created a course, How to Align with Your Natural State of Love, Joy, and Abundance. The only way to live in your natural state actually is to honor your wisdom and follow your yes. That is the way. And everyone benefits when you do honor yourself and listen to your wisdom, and no one benefits when you don't, when you're not honoring yourself. So if you want to learn more about this course, I'll put a link to it below, but I hope you found this video helpful, and I'm sending you so much love.